Hi, I'm Christina, and this is a book review on Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. Now, I don't think this book needs any introduction. It is absolutely everywhere, and it's my first book by her. I thought it was about time that I jumped on the Sally Rooney bandwagon, so here we are. So we follow two main characters, Alice and Eileen. They're both in their late 20s and they met whilst they were at university. So they've been in each other's lives for around a decade or so. And then we see the story told in alternating chapters as we watch them on their day-to-day lives for around a year or so. And then we see their email conversations back and forth between the two of them. Alice is a novelist and she's become quite a renowned author. She's very successful now and she's quite wealthy too. And so you can definitely see Sally Rooney in the character of Alice, and I think she is doing that on purpose. And then Eileen, on the other hand, works in publishing and she's in quite a low salary. So I think both of these characters are actually deeply unhappy with their lives, and I think both of them at times wish that they had the other person's life. And I thought it was interesting the way that we saw that unfold. This story really focuses on friendship and it explores the way resentment and bitterness can arise in these friendships. And it also just looks at the way these friendships ebb and flow over the months and the years. And then we also see the love and the loyalty that is also underpinning these friendships. So you really get a good take on the good and the bad and the ugly in terms of friendships in this book. The story also spends some time looking at success and the way in which success is perceived, and then it also looks at the topic of wealth and the way in which both success and money can affect long-term friendships. And I thought that was interestingly done, and I don't think that's a topic I've seen discussed before in a novel. And then we also have two other prominent characters in this book. We have Felix, who is a warehouse worker, and he first meets Alice on a Tinder date. And then we also have Simon, who works in politics, and he is a childhood friend of Eileen. So this book pretty much just focuses on these four main characters, and we just see their relationships and their friendships, everything blossoming and unraveling, and just that whole kind of sphere of just looking at a small group of people and seeing how they interact with each other day to day. And that's it really. There really isn't very much plot in this, but I knew going into this that Sally Rooney isn't known for her plot. So yeah, that's the general gist of what this story is about. So let me just start by saying that I have very mixed feelings towards this book. There was times when I wasn't even sure whether I liked it very much or not. So overall, I think the impression it's left on me is rather lukewarm. So let's just start with the email conversations back and forth between Alice and Eileen. So for most of the book, I have to say these were my absolute favourite parts of the book. Some of them were very, very interesting, they were very philosophical, very deep, and I thought they were quite profound at times and also quite moving at times too. So I really liked that aspect of the book. But then at other times, I thought they were a little bit meandering, and dare I say it, I thought they were a little bit pretentious too. But then I'm wondering if that is actually the point, because we are seeing the innermost thoughts and the innermost feelings of these two characters as they're putting that on the page to each other in the form of an email. And I think actually this is the only time that they are actually truthful about their feelings with one another, and actually the only time that they're really truthful about how they feel with themselves too. So I think the fact that sometimes I did like it and sometimes I didn't like it just shows that there's so many different parts of their personality when you read the emails. So yes, sometimes it is profound and sometimes it is moving and sometimes it is just pretentious and you're like, oh, I don't agree with that, I don't like that. So yeah, I think that is just showing the amount of their personality and that just they're very nuanced people. So it's a lukewarm thing for me, because sometimes, like I say, I thought these email conversations were wonderful, and at other times I was just bored and irritated. So So I also want to discuss the relationships in this book and the way in which those relationships are portrayed. I think some of the dialogue between the characters who are in romantic relationships and sexual relationships is a little bit odd and a little bit strange at times. And I'm not sure if that's the way people actually talk to one another, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. It just didn't feel quite right to me. And also, I want to talk about the way that Felix treats Alice in this book. I don't think she's treated very well at all. I don't think that's love. I think that's control more than anything. And I think there's a lot of anger there. I think there's a lot of resentment and a lot of misogyny. So I'm not sure if these relationships are meant to be aspirational, because I'm not sure if they are meant to be, but I don't think they should be. And I don't think these relationships are always okay. Sometimes they are very problematic and sometimes they are quite toxic, the friendships and the relationships. So it's kind of difficult to kind of go through those waters when you think this doesn't seem quite right. And I think I do take issue with some of Felix's behaviour, because it's just not okay. And also there's no repercussions for Felix, so it kind of feels like Sally Rooney is saying this is all okay because nothing bad happens. There's no one says, oh, you can't say that or you can't do that. It just, so I don't know, I wasn't sure how I felt about that. It kind of put me off a lot of the book, because the relationships to me, they aren't aspirational, they don't always feel good. So yeah, I didn't really like that aspect of it. So this book also looks at the topic of mental health, and I thought the discussions around it were okay. All four of the prominent characters have some discussion around their mental health, and yet I don't think it was particularly impactful for me. I thought it wasn't really explored in quite enough detail or looked at fully enough to really kind of leave a lasting impression. Sometimes it was just kind of touched upon between a character and another character, and then there wasn't really any further deeper discussion on that. So I think I would have liked to see a little bit more of that, because that really is quite a big part of who they are and the things that they are struggling with at the moment. And sometimes I thought that was looked at maybe just superficially rather than in any kind of deeper sense. So overall, it's a bit of a mixed bag for me, this one. I thought it was overly long, and at times I thought it was repetitive and a little bit boring. And I have to say that I didn't connect to any of the main characters in any kind of deep way. And yet I quite enjoyed my time with it sometimes too, especially the email exchanges between the two women. And I thought some of her writing was truly, truly beautiful. And I have to say that I thought it was a very readable book, despite all of the things that I didn't like. I found myself sitting there quite happily for long stretches of time just reading this book. So it's very hard to say how I truly feel about this one, but I think it has to be just middle of the road for me. It's a 3-star read, and I think it's a low 3-star because I enjoyed it, but there was lots of things I didn't enjoy too. So this is quite an unusual book review for me. I'm still not 100% sure how I feel. I'm not 100% sure if I really liked it or not, but I'm glad that I read it anyway. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, about any aspects of this book. I'd love to know what you think of it. So yeah, I think I might read her next book, but I don't think I will go back and read Conversations with Friends or Normal People. I think I'll definitely check out whatever she writes next. So yeah, it's a bit of an unusual review for me. I'm not 100% sure how I feel. Maybe it's one of those books that I need to sit with it for a little bit of time and just kind of think, how do I actually feel about it all now? At the moment, I'm kind of thinking it's a little bit forgettable for me. I don't think in a year's time I will be able to remember much of what actually happened, or even the characters' names. So I don't think it's going to be a lasting impression on me at all. I think it might just kind of disappear into, you know, the depths of every other book that I've read. So yeah, that's how I feel about that one. So thank you so much for watching. Please like the video if you liked it, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more of me talking about books. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.